Hello and welcome to the One People Show.
Hello and welcome everyone to this week's One People Roundtable, which apparently we can't say straight very often. It comes out as the Round People, the One Table.
It's become an ongoing joke around the house. It's like, wait, you've got the Round People show. No, the Round Table, the One People, the One Table. That show. It's that show.
So yes, welcome to the Round People. It's been quite a week. I know a lot of you guys are talking about the energetic shit that's going on and the change, and even the kookaburras think it's a fucking joke, don't you? Yeah,
the kookaburras have decided to take up residence in the backyard here, so they're getting real noisy. What? I can't.
No, that's not a black cocky, is it?
It is a black cockatiel.
Jed will know the significance. We've got the most gorgeous black cockatoo sitting right there.
I wish we could show you.
Oh,
Right over top of the kookaburra. There's like a kookaburra on one branch and this massive black cockatoo. Can you get a photo?
Photos.
Take photos. So we've had a lot of talk around here
all
about
black.
About like the totem birds and things like that. So yeah, it's all black, and he stands about his body. I don't know if you can see that. His body's about that tall.
They're a good
hopping. Oh,
they're a positive totem. They're a good sign.
Yep.
Protection.
That was sweet.
I can't remember what else.
It's kind of like the king totem bird.
He's a good sign, yes.
Yes, and the kookaburra is sitting right here. We have a family of kookaburras who've taken up residence in the backyard.
A square table.
The square table. Well, we do have a square. It's a rock.
Sorry, that probably hurt.
There he is. Hi, Kookie.
Yes, it has been like a nuts roller coaster time, and I think honestly this is going to be more and more of the same. It's going to get bigger and better and crazier and more challenging as we go throughout the year, is my personal feel. We've got, the way I'm seeing it is, I know that we come from a very, especially this one, cynical point of view.
I'm a cynic.
However, we are seeing we're seeing all this shit come to the surface, all these things being exposed, and the cynic in me wants to think that it's a manipulated, controlled kind of exposure, with an agenda, but I actually don't think for the most part it is. I think truth is finally being revealed, and
across the board,
like in every sphere,
everywhere.
At the same time, we can see the agendas that are being played out clearer and clearer. This will tap into one of the things we were going to talk about today too, which was the Sterling Allen stuff. The pedophilia thread seems to be the one thing right now that is going to, once pulled properly,
it's the string that attaches it all.
It's global. There is no sector. It's religious. It's political. It's
business, finance.
They're all involved, and it's that one thread that when you pull it,
everything unravels.
Everything's going to unravel, and I think through that we are going to see the exposure of so much more.
Not at the top, Sandy. Not at the top. Throughout. This is like pulling the one thread that goes like this. If you've ever pulled a thread and it's run through an entire sweater, this is the thing, is we think of this as being at the top. But I think what we're going to see is a complete unraveling and in a revealing that it's not just at the top. And we've talked about this with the conversations over the whole Second World War, over like the Nazis and how they've been pushed, that the Nazis is the Satanist agenda, et cetera, et cetera. So there's been this hyper focus of like, oh, you know, it's like this Satanist, it has to do with the Vatican or Illuminati or this Nazi thing, and all to deal with this ritual, this sacrifice, this pedophilia, et cetera. And I think when this string gets pulled, it's going to be revealed that no, this is far more woven into the general fabric of everything behind. It's there he is. The big black cockatoo just flew right over the house, and he's just landed on in the center of the garden.
I missed it.
He's right behind you. He stood up, you'd be able to see him.
But how do I put this? Because even though one of the things that we haven't touched on when we've talked about religions, oh, there he is the Wahabism. But even that's being revealed. So we've got, and we'll go into that a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get into that, because that's actually a really major piece. And it's going to be one of the Transpicuous News specials that I'm going to really dig into. But it's being revealed right now.
So when you see these women in the full black burqas, and some of them don't even reveal their eyes, or what's going on in Saudi Arabia, this is Wahabism. It's like Zionists hiding behind Jews. This is Wahhabists hiding behind Muslims. And Wahabism was created when?
In the mid 1800s. It was created by a British spy. A British agent formed up, and basically they made an allegiance between the family line that is now the House of Saud, and this guy who was out in the desert making up this Wahhabist religion, this extremist religion, and they united the two. And it's all this shit that we were pulling apart this week, between this continuation from last week's show, between the First World War and the Second World War, the shit that we're pulling out, the alliances that were made, the alliances that were torn apart, the treaties, who's done what, who brought these alliances, the timing of all these things coming out. So you had this, Saudi Arabia was giving, the King Saud was given his kingdom by the British, given the right to rule, but that was the whole setup for the Wahhabist state, and with a Wahhabist that they've just religion that they've now implanted. And the difference is, a year ago, you had alternative media and the outspoken media. So for example, media out of Iran, media coming out of Iraq, etc., who were a little more forthcoming with stuff that was going on. They kept talking about, this is a Sunni Shia war. Everything was happening in the Middle East, Yemen, Iraq, Iran, etc. It was a Sunni Shia war, which is of course the two main factions of the Muslim faith. Now there's a radical change. In the last 2 months, we're seeing governmental people, Germany and France in particular. We're seeing the media. We're seeing academics, and they're all now saying, no, this is a Wahhabist war. And they're being very, very clear now to point that this is not Sunni Shia sectarian war. This is being led by the Wahhabist regime. And this leads people that what is Wahhabism? And then you have to go down and look. The biggest piece of that being in Germany, releasing the German foreign minister coming out with a public statement in, I believe, the end of December, beginning of January, saying, we need to stop all these mosques being built by Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is building mosques everywhere all over the world, but they're Wahhabist mosques. And then they use those for recruiting extremism and extremists. It's all this, and now, right now, it's being fully outed. as this isn't Sunni Shia, it is Wahhabist. Like I said, then you need people to start doing the research. Okay, well, what is Wahhabism? And therein lies the answer, because it all ties into the Zionists. Ah, right, the original House of Saud was Jewish and Zionist family, not Muslim. So start taking it forward from there, and you go, oh, do things make a little more sense now?
So we used to say that all roads lead to Rome.
Not anymore. They all lead to Israel now.
Yeah. And so Wahabism is manufactured and hiding behind Muslim and has ties to Zionism. We've got all of these religions really are the front and for the public consumption, as we've talked about, but behind all of them, all the key people, all the those at the top, those who the founders, all of that, they all seem to be either Jesuit or Zionist direct connection. And even I think what you'll find is the Jesuits and the Zionists are a direct connection too. I think the Jesuits were an offshoot of the Zionists at one point to be the founding of the Catholic Christian setup.
Yep.
But all of this is being revealed in such a way that is just mind-blowing. And there's a lot of attempts at least to clean up. There's a guy that I watched the other day who's considered one of the best researchers on Hitler personally. The guy is constantly attacked, constantly. He doesn't seem to go so far as to be what's labelled a Holocaust denier, but what he has established is that if there was stuff going on in those concentration camps that is sort of atrocious, he has been able to establish that Hitler knew nothing about it. That there is no evidence that any of these orders came from Hitler. And in fact, because he started doing his research in the late 50s and early 60s. So these people were still alive. And he went to some of the top officials and in the SS and those who were in charge of the concentration camps. Who'd you get your orders from? I got them from so-and-so. So we go there. Who'd you get your orders from? Well, I got them from this person. And who gave you your order? Well, I got, and they just did a little circle. And Hitler was never involved. No one ever actually got their orders directly from Hitler. And there is no authentic documents from him with orders like that for how to run those concentration camps or for anything untoward going on in those concentration camps. Even still today, there are photographs of bulldozers, dumping bodies in big pits. And we are told that this is how the Germans this is them disposing of all the bodies. But if you look closely enough, it's an English soldier in a British tank. So this is them disposing of all the bodies that died of typhoid at the end of the war.
Yeah.
The propaganda is continuing and
seriously ramping up.
And
it continues with the Stalin stuff. Like we'll release the video probably in the next couple of days. We had a really great conversation with Lily for the first time. We sat down for a while, and we've got to
release
the video, but because we kind of tackled two different subjects. So I think we're going to end up probably breaking it into two separate videos. And we had a huge conversation. We got into the whole Stalin stuff and the Hitler stuff. And the same thing with the Hitler. It looks like Stalin wasn't in control of his troops either. And that Stalin wasn't the one giving the orders of the Red Army either. And the more you look into this, the more evidence comes out to show that the Zionist controllers were in control of
the Red Army
and the Nazi army. And those who are the faces of, the leaders of, were actually not in control. And like I said, this week we've had just stunning. We bring up documents. I pulled up an amazing document about to give a historical rundown of the Wahhabist stuff, and I start running through it, and all these dates are popping up, and I of course throw it over to Ben, who's keeping track of all these dates, and we start again tying in pieces all together. Then we start pulling out. We watched. I read a big article. It was all dealing with flat Earth stuff, and it was talking about the Jesuits and the infiltration into science, et cetera, and all of this. And the same thing when we started analyzing these dates in the 1600s, in the late 1500s, they all tied into it. Like Copernicus makes this statement the exact same year that a major treaty is put together here and here and here and here. And you go,
or month even.
In the same month. And you just go, it's all these dates come together. They're all interrelated. Like we are joking now about the fact that we are going to need to, in order to make this timeline tree, of either paint an entire wall completely white and start in pencil drawing it out, and then as we get things a little more solid, doing it in colored marker, because every date you get, 1655 is the date, but then there's like about 6 things that come off of that date, and then they all move forward to tie into other dates of like 1933.
Because basically what we're doing is compiling a timeline of the last 2,000 years. And you've got the public face, the public treaties, the public consolidations, things like the creation of the UN and all of that. And then you've got the private.
Oh, yeah.
And how that all ties. This thing is monumental, this timeline. It's become a monster.
And every day there's a new piece that falls into it. Yeah. Every day someone sends us an article that was seemingly unassociated in any way, shape, or form, and then a date will come up in the article, and you're like, "Oh snap! Look at that!
Mm-hmm.
This date it comes up again. Oh, 1966 again. Oh, holy crap! And 2009 again. Holy shit!" And it all keeps fitting together.
Like we talked about last week, the so-called coincidence of us here in Australia and New Zealand adopting $1, getting away from the pound. Harold Holt's death. Pine Gap, it's all connected. And when you start to look at the dates and really get nitty gritty about the chronology of events, it builds a picture. And we've got 2,000 years of this shit trying to put together.
Like the corporate city of London being invented in 47 AD. The corporate city of London, 47 AD.
And this is where I've got issues with timeline in terms of, I still believe that they've inserted hundreds, if not 1,000 years into all of this, because while in Europe, they're corporatizing in AD.
In AD.
AD, right?
We're in AD now. BC.
BC. They're creating corporations and treaties and trade agreements and so sophisticated stuff that is pretty much the same way we're doing it right now, a couple of 1,000 years ago, while supposedly the rest of the world is still dragging their knuckles. And it just doesn't add up. Even Kiri's husband in New Zealand made the comment when Ben blurted out something about 1,000 years, and he went, "Oh," he said, "I can account for 1,000 years of the last 2,000." He said, "But I don't know where the other 1,000 came from." And this is all part of it. There's so much that's being revealed right now and will continue to be revealed over the course of this year. It's just mind-blowing. This energetic wave that I've been talking about, that I feel it's behind us, that's really, really positive. It's still there. It's still growing. It's still getting closer and closer. And I think it's just going to wash away all the lies and the crap, or reveal it all, like some of the stuff that gets revealed after a tsunami.
Yeah. He's like, all the shit that gets washed up onto the shore. Oh, we went to full screen all of a sudden.
Oh.
That was nice.
Hi.
Hi. We're bigger.
What did Mara say?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, in order not to hit the Ford factories in Germany. Yeah, exactly. More. This kind of shit went on all the time. I mean, this is it. My maternal grandmother's brothers were pilots in World War II. And my two uncles, great uncles, were wingmen. And my Uncle Sam was shot down over German lines. And he was a POW for most of the Second World War. And he came out of it a very, very sick man. Like, not just physically sick, but like mentally, emotionally sick. And he would not talk about what he saw. And it's so funny because now you kind of start interpreting it and going, okay, is the reason he won't talk about what he saw because nothing of what he saw added up to the official story?
Matches the rhetoric.
But as pilots, the same thing. They were given orders of what not to hit. Oh no, you can't hit that because that's, we need them. Don't blow up that factory because we need to actually go in and take over that factory. So, same thing. Don't hit the Ford plants in Germany. No. They're an asset. Don't blow up our Ford plants. That's it. People are going to freak. Dawn just said when the truth finally comes out, people are going to freak out. And it's funny. We've been talking about this a lot and saying, is that the purpose of this long kind of slow lead up to it? Of you take down the media. So like basically we know CNN has lost all their viewership, all these guys. So people are starting to turn to the alternative media more and more.
Which is cannibalizing itself.
At the moment. But as they do so, people are becoming more and more aware of the little things off to the sides. And is that why the slow rollout of this kind of information, kind of like the way it
doesn't feel slow to me. I'd feel like I'm under an avalanche of.
Well, yeah, I know. In the greater feeling stuff, take the comparison of this last year versus the 5 years before that. Oh yeah, I agree. In the last 2 months versus the last year before that, exactly. But is that why? Is it to kind of keep the sanity a little bit? It's like we're just going to keep. Is that what Donald Trump is all about? I honestly, I've always said Donald Trump is a complete fucking distraction. It's just to keep the public arguing and fighting and look over here, look over here, look over here.
Well, it's certainly done that.
He's never going to be in the final run for presidency, ever. Okay, he is a distraction, but at the same time, is he also a distraction? It just shows you how fucking asinine American politics is. Like, I'm sorry, he is like the quintessential extremist, if you will.
For him to say that the violence that's taking place at his rallies, he's never witnessed such human violence before. I mean, there's a guy been living under a fucking rock?
Yes.
For the last...
He's been living under a fucking mansion.
Just look out the window, dude. It's everywhere and it's all over the world. What the hell? And for people to be screaming about their amendment rights being violated because they're not given the opportunity to hear him speak, when he's violating the rights of the people who go there by chucking them out. Has anyone not seen the hypocrisy?
But that's it. And like literally, he is kind of like a signpost of hypocrisy. Like, and all of his followers and all these screaming people in the crowd. I mean, it is almost like the most extreme expression of what's fucking wrong in America. Is that what it's for?
As we saw the other day, orange is not the new black people.
Orange is not the new black. That was too fucking funny. But I mean, is that what it's for? Like we talk about, and we've talked about the fact of like even Obama and saying, hate Obama all you want. The one thing he has done is made everything very transparent. He's done everything publicly. He's not done anything that no other president's done. They've all done the exact same shit, but he did his publicly, full record. Full paper trail of everything he's done.
And he's essentially made what the others who came before him did.
Transparent. Yeah. He's brought everything out and made it all very, very transparent. We look at Donald Trump and in that same way of like, he's making a whole lot of shit completely transparent of like, basically the whole entire election process in the US has been literally turned into a circus of epic proportions now. I mean, it's epic. There's no way of going beyond or topping. I mean, unless Hillary starts doing topless dancing girls to try and win votes, there really is not much more you can
I don't
do.
understand how this woman's allowed. How can you be supposedly under investigation and be concurrently running for president? I don't understand.
But this is what I'm saying. This entire election is so asinine. Jeb Bush, who supposedly has stepped out, yeah, he'll be back. Trust me, he'll be back. The man is a moron, and everyone in the public knows the man's a moron. He's corrupt. Everyone in the public knows he's corrupt.
Kim Kardashian for president.
Kim Kardashian for president. Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know her. Hillary. That would be a tough call.
They might be lovers already, anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. If you want to get into the gossip, so everything in this election, to me, has become such an epic circus that I can't help but think that that's exactly what it's doing. It's making it all transparent, like just the buy-offs, the buy-offs that are happening, and how much money is being donated by corporations, by religious groups, to push agendas, and it's all there in the public. Everything's being made transparent. I mean, in the media, we're seeing it. We're seeing the media make complete asinine fools of themselves, to the point that even the most asleep people in the States and in Canada and Australia are starting to go, what the fuck?
Dawn, there's a lot of controversy and some evidence that that's not the case.
I'm here. I know. I watch everything. I've been watching all this real close, and I just don't get that energetically. But you know, that's me. Yeah. I think they're going to do something to him. I really do. I'm scared for him.
Well, that could well be the case. I mean, I think they've been trying to incite civil war in America for at least the last 10 years. They've tried police brutality against civilians, and they're still doing that. They've tried so many things with gun laws, with these false flags. They've tried over and over again to create civil war there. And if they can put someone like Trump out there to get enough people behind him, and the kind of people behind him, because there seems to be a lot of
racist.
Oh yeah, no, they've already labeled all Trump supporters as basically rebels. You know, we're troublemakers. That's it. So yeah.
And I'm not saying that there aren't people in there deliberately there to incite this trouble, right? I mean, that's all it takes. You get a couple of people in there on the payroll who are designed to.
Let me tell you, I watched the last debate. Okay, I watched it the entire time, and I mean, it was like it was scripted. One person got up, started trouble, and then once that person was taken out, the next person got up. That person got taken out. And then all of a sudden, this one guy like jumps the 15-foot barrier and starts rushing him at the stage. I mean, it's like it's completely set up.
Totally, completely. I agree 100%.
I mean, I'm just sitting there watching it going, really? You know? And I don't know.
Taking him out could well be the, part of the plan to incite more civil unrest.
Oh, it would. I believe it would. I really do. I think people would lose it.
Okay, I have a question for some of our more mature audience people who are a little older than us, perhaps. This conversation came up yesterday. Watergate.
Oh.
Okay, because we're talking about the Hillary stuff. We're just going to jump back to the Hillary stuff. And it's like, Hillary's being charged. She's going to be indicted. She's being investigated, et cetera, et cetera. So during Watergate, when Nixon was up and all this shit was going down, was it public knowledge during the investigation that this was happening? Or did this all become apparent afterwards? Like, was it like basically Nixon's been indicted and here's the reason why? But during that whole investigative period of Watergate, did the public know what was going on?
As far as I know, no.
I don't think so either, but I wanted to know if anyone else, and that's just it. It's like, so the Maury just said, we did not know. So that's my one thing about the whole Hillary shit, because we've gone back and forth on this. They're saying she's being investigated, she's going to be indicted, blah, 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 blah. Is it true? Isn't it true? We have no way of verifying it. But, if it is true, they wouldn't be talking about it publicly. There's no way they'd be talking about it publicly. There would be an investigation going on. If an investigation is going on, they can't be putting investigative material out to the public during an investigation.
It wasn't until after.
So I don't know what's going on with Hillary. I mean,
well, again, this
that
ties into the Sterling Allen thing, right? Apparently Sterling Allen has been
right
under investigation since, at the very least,
that we know of,
July of last
June or July of last year, at least.
Was it last year?
Like 2015.
Okay. And apparently the only reason they swooped in on him now, when they did, is because he was making noises about going to Russia, and Russia doesn't have a extradition treaty with the US, so they had to move on him. Now, in moving on him, and they take his computer, they take everything. They've come up with a list of 25,000 names.
Now, this information is according to Miran Keshe. Right?
Now, most people know what our thoughts are on Keshe. My thing with Keshe, personally, is that this guy claims to have the ability, has the technology to end war. And he's been saying that for 2 years. So in my mind, if you've got it and you're not using it and you're allowing all these people to be killed every day, then you're culpable.
Yeah.
If you stand by with the power to stop something and allow it to happen, you are just as culpable. That's my personal problem with him.
My personal problem is he calls himself the Messiah.
If
above and beyond.
If his technology works, and again, I have people that I know that are playing and working with the technology, and they're having results.
Very good results.
But again, we're seeing this huge community around him and his technology, and these people are playing on their own. They're taking what he puts out and they're expanding upon it. However, his intel on this particular situation with Sterling Allen, apparently he handed the intel over to the agencies, over to the CIA, the FBI, whoever, at least back in June of last year, probably before.
Yeah.
And he said, watch this space. So his intel on this one seems to have been correct.
This is it. So like I said, I find these things interesting, how things play out. They seem irrelevant in the moment, and then suddenly, months and months later, they become really relevant. And that the big battle that started in the RTS Skype room, the one that ended up with me banning all discussion of Keshe whatsoever in the room, started with this exact conversation that Keshe had come out and said that Sterling Allen, who, if you don't know who he is the owner, the founder of Peswiki website, which is probably the biggest, biggest free energy website in the world.
He came up with the term free energy.
He's the guy who invented free energy, the term free energy, purportedly. And we'll get into that in a second. So you have this guy, and what had happened, someone had come in, a good friend of mine had come into the Skype room and had said that Keshe has said that this guy's a pedophile and he has all the proof. And my response to it, as in any of these situations, is always, well, show me the proof. Because I'm not going to go out and do a report on something unless on he said, she said, there has to be evidence somewhere. And it blew up. The whole Skype room blew up. I blew up. Everyone blew up. And basically it came down to there was no evidence given at the time. But I filed it all away in my hard drive. And then we have the situation came up last week. And I woke up to literally multiple messages from friends of mine saying Sterling Allen's just been arrested. And Miran Keshe has spoken about what happened. And again, same thing. Keshe apparently had all this evidence. He gave it to the FBI. All this came forward. And the two things that were said was that Sterling Allen was being protected by Scalia. I know nothing about this aspect. And that when Scalia was murdered, that was his private little personal protection taken down, which is why they could go after him. And of course, the other one was that he was planning on going to Russia, and they nabbed him because they knew if they went to Russia, it was because he was fleeing, right? Because there was no extradition.
So did
according
he
to
only start
Keshe,
talking about going to Russia after Scalia was killed?
yes, after Scalia was killed is when he started talking about going to Russia. So it all kind of fits neatly into a storyline that could or couldn't, you know, depending on how you want to look at it, could be true or not. We don't know. Because of the background, because of what I'd been told and the whole conversation I had back in the spring and early summer, when I see something like that play out as accurate, i.e. the fact of mainstream media news that Sterling Allen has indeed been arrested for pedophilia, I tend to look at the other statements that have been made by Keshe as having more validity. Not proof, but at least of more validity that I'm going to pay a little closer attention, because this one's already panned out, so I'll watch and see where this space goes to. Now, I've had lots of conversations with a buddy of mine who's now working directly with Keshe on some stuff. And he's told me he will keep me fully informed, because there's a bunch of things that came up, allegations that came up from Keshe that again shed light on other issues, which we won't get into. I'm a good girl. But this opens the door, and this was the big question for us. This guy, like I said, founder of one of the biggest, oldest free energy websites. He's the guy who invented the term free energy. Computer purportedly has 25,000 links to some of the highest level of government with pedophilia, like hardcore stuff. This could be one of those strings that we were talking about that unravels the whole cloth. Not just in, as I said, not just in political, those upper, the way we usually think of it, like, you know, Vatican, politicians, Buckingham Palace, all this shit, but right down. So we're talking how many people in these free energy sites knew what was going on? How many people involved with Peswiki had any understanding of what was going on? What is the background? And the very astute comment that was made by Ben was, oh, let's look at the name free energy. Who's the energy? Who's the value? We're the value. Who's the energy? We're the energy. Now, again, look at the thing, free energy. And this whole idea of child trafficking, child slavery, all of this shit. And it kind of makes you go, oh, wow.
And why anybody in the free energy movement seems to have some sort of, what's the word? Charitable, no, the charitable desire to put free energy in the third world, which is where a lot of children are trafficked from. Is there a connection between pedophilia, child trafficking, and free energy?
Yeah. Just child trafficking.
But what are the children trafficked for?
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing, and you sit there and you go, okay, now let's look at the free energy, the history of free energy. Now, the Peswiki site had everyone on it. So many people. There was so many blueprints, so many free energy inventors, etc., all listed on the site doing this thing. What's one of the things they all had in common, though, too, is that they were all in one site. Are we looking at, was this the major co-opting site? Was this site built to co-opt all of the free energy work into this one nice, neat community where it could be controlled, where it could be led on? I don't know. There's just so many pieces. Just this week alone on this aspect, it opens so many questions to what is actually happening. Hold on, Ben is jumping up and down next to me. Yes, Ben.
Just remember what we just found out about all those scientists and all the rest of it, and where their links are through the Jesuits.
Oh, through the Jesuits. Oh, exactly. Well, I mean, that's it. Exactly. Well, we already discussed that.
We touched on that while you were gone.
While you were gone. Yeah, science being one of the major things with under the Jesuit control. Science and free energy and all these things come together, and you have to look at this and go, it's peace. We don't have the answer. You can't say yes or no. You can't say what's factual, what isn't, but you have to open your eyes. There's definitely some major questions being asked now about some of these organizations. And where does it end? When you start pulling that string and that string starts coming apart, where this leads, everything that this touches, just the Peswiki site itself, everything it touches is vast. And what are the implications for that? What are the implications?
Sorry, I'm reading the chat room. Yeah, I know. I get you, Dawn. It makes me very, very angry and upset as well.
Well, and Lily's in the chat room, and she just said they've never released how many children disappear every year from Russia. Well, in the States too. I mean, you look at, okay, CPS, and I don't know what the equivalent is in
Child Protective Services.
Child Protection Services. We have the Children's Aid Society in Canada. Okay, and there's a different name for it in England. I can't remember. How many of these children are pulled into these homes? How many of these children disappear? Huge amounts, like unbelievably huge amounts of these children disappear from within the protective child agencies. Again, you know, it isn't in, I guess it's not just, we keep focusing on, like I said, Vatican pedophilia and Buckingham Palace and these very high levels of government banking, but it's not. We're going to see as they unravel it, it's going to go right down through the entire fabric. It'll be everywhere. I don't know. And it is a sickness, and I know, Dawn, it makes me absolutely fucking sick. And it's, Lisa and I had a conversation just a couple of days ago about, do we do a special report on this? What?
In Russia, they estimate about 20,000 children a month.
Are you shitting me, Lily?
How can that go unnoticed?
How can that go unnoticed? 20,000 children a month in Russia go missing?
That means either you or somebody you know would be losing a child every bloody month.
Huh. No, is that through? I've got Lily. Lily, do you want to unmute and come on if you don't mind for a second?
Oh, Jesus.
Well, because is this through Child Protection Services? Something along that level? Or is this literally children being snatched?
Hi, ladies.
Hi,
can you hear
Lily.
me?
Yeah, we can.
Sorry, I barely have my voice, but I will say there's so many children are born to people in their rural areas that they just come and take away, the government, all those children, because
Under
most
the premise of what?
Exactly. Under what guise are they taking these children away?
because they're all drag addicts. There's a new drag that is in Russia.
The new
New drug.
Drug, yeah. Sorry, my voice.
Okay.
That is supplied to them from China. It's so horrible. That's one use and that's it. They're completely lose their empathy. So the mothers, once they take those drugs, they don't want their children. They're completely go crazy. They completely lose empathy. They don't have it anymore. They are not like a human beings. It's an experiment and it's becoming a huge problem in Russia because there's a woman that cut off a 4-year-old child's head, carry it in her hands.
I saw the pictures.
Hours
I didn't
on the street. This is the drug that China is supplying to Russia right now because I don't know what's the deal. They're all part of cabal. I'm sorry for you guys that think that Putin's gonna save you. He is not.
No.
He is supplying these children to cabal. And they doing it purposely, and they are getting these young girls on these drugs so they can lose their mother instinct, because this is what it does. science, actually. This is a huge problem. Once they take it once, they lose everything human about them, and they're lost forever.
Okay, I want to.
There's so many people.
This is a conversation we had. We had this conversation just a few days ago. We were talking with the movie The Kingsman. I don't know if anyone's guys have seen the movie The Kingsman. It came out last year, and it's about a super elite secret British spies. And basically, the premise of it is that this very super wealthy software developer, played by Samuel Jackson, has decided that the planet is dying. He has to save the planet. The only way to save the planet is to wipe out all the people. And he develops a software that basically emits a frequency that makes everyone go completely crazy and start killing each other. And that's and he basically then releases free internet to the entire planet. So everyone goes and gets this little SIM chip into their phone, their computers, their devices. And then when he turns the switch on, the people go absolutely freaking nuts. And they literally start killing each other. And that's his idea, is all the safe people will all be locked away somewhere safe until they let all the killing subside. And then they'll have the planet, and they'll be able to bring the planet back to perfection. But when you talk about this drug, is that not what we're talking about? If it's a drug that allows this to happen, is that just another piece of transparency of the puzzle? Like, we're talking about a testing with a drug like this?
Jesus Christ.
Yes, they've tested on soldiers. They perfected it in Russia because at first it was killing them. And then they perfected it. Chinese did it.
American
they created
police? Like, we're talking about these American police that go in and shoot children dead and shoot people dead for nothing, and we're hearing the stories continuously. Is that what this is? Are they being dosed with this kind of a drug that removes that moral?
Yes. That's what it does. And people in Russia are absolutely, and right now, and on top of that, they have the frequency bombardment to where this mind programming is just out of control right now. Because too much has become invisible, and so they have to throw everything at them.
I tell you what.
Remember how in Russia
they almost at breaking point. This.
Yes.
And this is what's being pushed. This good positive wave and this negative shit, it's just about to crash. It's about to fucking crash together. And when it does, whoa.
Oh boy.
Because even in there was the town in Canada where the suicide rate just went in 2 weeks.
It's a town in northern Manitoba. It's a First Nations reserve. They've only got like 8,000 people in the reserve. The chief of the town has just called an emergency, like a national emergency. In the last 2 months, they've had something like 8 suicides. But in the last 2 weeks, they've had 160 attempted suicides in 2 weeks. And this is in Canada. And we said the same thing. You can't tell me that there isn't frequency being used. You can't tell me that there isn't something being done to these populations as a test. It has to be, because first of all, you go look up the history of the town. Oh, they put major hydro towers up on the native land. And the natives started fighting back. The First Nations people started fighting back, saying, no fucking way, get these fucking shit off of our land. And they promised them all this stuff. Oh, no, it'll bring you jobs. It's going to bring money to the town. And it has done nothing. 80% unemployment rate in this reservation. And now 140 or 160 people try to commit suicide. They basically said the nurses, they've only got 8 nurses in the entire town.
They're working
24/7 right now. Like, they're dropping off their feet trying to keep people suicide.
Was that a dog?
Lily's talking, but we can't hear you, Lily.
Yes, that was a dog. Sorry.
I thought you
Yes,
had a
and
meltdown, right?
this is like a chemical little tablet type of thing. They can do it different way too. They can shoot it up too, and that's completely like I don't know, but it's a tablet, so it can like go in water and stuff like that.
This
They
is.
can
I just
add
want to
this.
hang on, Lily. I just want to say this because people are really getting upset, and
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not saying this to placate people. I actually do believe this, that the better things get, the more positive energy that is facing us, the more truth that's coming out, all of the good stuff is going to be met equally by the crap until
Yes.
it builds. The crescendo is building, and at some point, real soon, before the end of this year, it's gonna collide.
Yes.
And don't be surprised.
The new energy.
See.
Yes, the new energy is adding this transparency that they cannot deal with.
Yeah, they can.
And so they've been trying to perfect this drug so they can give it to people so they can have their World War III. Because people don't want to go fight anymore. They feel the energy that it's, it's bringing this whole new reality in it, so they can't sell it. So they try to do that. But you guys cannot be surprised that this is the kind of thing going on in Russia. Remember, for years and years in Russia, people were going and adopting children. And they were showing on TVs and everything. That was a cover story. There's so many orphanages in Russia. Thousands and thousands of children that are in orphanages. And all of that for years have been a cover-up for cabal to get their children from there. Because and that is still going on. And look at how many young women from Russia that are young, 12, 13-year-olds that are being used also for other stuff. So it's a multi-layered thing, and it's well established. So it's not a news to people that know a little bit and can see some signs. It's just, that's what is happening.
This ties into something. When we first had a conversation with Jed, when we first brought him out on the show, Jed's comment was that it was our empathy for each other that gave us more time, to pull more people in, to awaken.
Yes.
Remember? So our empathy and our compassion for each other, for the planet, is one of our strengths.
Is our power.
Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me that they would develop a drug that targets that part of the brain that is triggered by empathy. And is it possible that with one hit of this drug that it could literally kill that part of the brain? Oh, yeah, possibly.
Well, and then it comes down to, we had this conversation, I think it was last week's show. We talked about the backdrop people and the people who are programmed and the people who are just, I don't know, what do you call them? With an artificial soul, no soul. They have no morality. There's no empathy. And I think that's the best word to use. There's no empathy and compassion whatsoever within these people. And someone made the comment, asked the question, but can these people be saved, so to speak? Like, is there any hope for them? Well, if we're now dealing with, if this is what we're looking at, if we're looking at something that is a frequency drug-induced thing, because if they're using it now, you can guarantee they've been using this for a long fucking time. This kind of an ideology. Then detox. How do you cleanse something like that out of the system? And can you bring it back? Is it kill that piece of the brain, or is it just turning it off?
It's probably killing it. It's probably killing it, but because of that, it also creates a huge, it gives them a rage instead of that. Yeah. So what happened is, like with the soldiers, when they did the test, they go into this rage, and this rage gives them sort of the second wind, and they can actually, like in Lucy, did you see that, how that drug was like making that guy crazy? I mean, that was very similar. I mean, that was in there for a reason, you guys. We have to understand. In
I
that
remember
movie,
a show
that was a notice.
in the 80s, I think, 90s.
Yes.
There was a movie or a show, must have been a movie. And I think the drug in the movie was called angel dust.
I was just gonna say PCP. PCP is
Violent, strong,
stupendous, gives you super. I've actually had to deal with people on PCP, and the truth is, someone hopped up on PCP is so above the pain threshold that they've multiple accounts of them being shot 6 or 7 times, and they just keep coming because the drug enables them to keep going.
Okay, this ties in.
Yes.
Oh,
There was a lot of that in Ukraine.
Lily, you and Jeff would know
was-
this. You and Jeff
Yes.
would know this. Steve Richards has talked about how the militaries, the police, everyone's being trained for kill shots, heart and head only, because
Yes.
something is coming.
Oh, and if you have all these
Of
people,
course, they've created it.
they know.
So,
that
of
these
course
people
they-
hopped up.
This is the zombie apocalypse.
Well, that's just it.
Yes.
It actually feeds. That's the entire zombie apocalypse shit. They use the whole movies about zombies, but it's not. That's exactly what the zombie apocalypse shit is about. Is just, what article did we just read yesterday that was about Berlin? And the headline, what did they say? Remember, because you commented on it first thing this morning, the big march in Berlin against Merkel, and the headline was something about the zombies.
Yeah, I didn't get the connection though.
And it didn't make a connection. But now imagine if you're seeing all of these. Imagine if you're seeing all of these massive demonstrations where you've got, like Brazil this weekend, 3 million people on the streets in Brazil. And they can spray them, dose them, flip a switch, and all of a sudden you now have an enraged mobs of basically zombies that have gotten amoral, that have no compassion, no empathy, don't give a shit, that are raged out. The head and heart.
I'm sure that video is taken down right now, but there was soldiers that were doing experiments in Russian army. They actually give these drugs and videotaped it as the guy goes and start running. They're counting how many shots it's going to take to bring him down. It took them 12 shots to bring him down. And they videotaped it and put it on YouTube.
Can I just ask if Jeff's in there?
This is how horrific stuff, how much horrific stuff is happening in the world.
Yeah, apparently the worst thing Trump's ever seen is the carrying on at his rallies.
Yeah.
Jeff, if you're there, if you've got anything to add in terms of what Steve Richards has brought through about this, about what they're...
Oh,
I'd love it if you came
Jeff talked about the story, and it was Steve Richards brought it out as well, about the woman in the drive-thru in McDonald's who wanted...
She wanted chicken fucking McNuggets, and she wanted them now.
And she literally was like, I'm going to turn into a demon. When you see me in my real form, I will eat your face. I will, like...
Yep. So since you brought up... Yeah. So in Steve Richards' view, because he has ability to see timelines in a way, he calls this the conjunction. And CERN is opening a lot of doorways for these entities to come in, and drugs are a way for these entities to take over the human vehicle. So,
okay. So just elaborate on that a little bit. It's like a drug is embedded with the energy of a being, right?
correct.
One way of putting it?
or even just
Yes.
a drug that brings your own personal.
No, it's like
shields
it's got the
down.
signature of that being in it intentionally, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Lily's
It's the
crocodile.
essence, the
Yeah.
essence of them. So basically, the drug is the essence, is because they are soulless, so they don't have the living light. So they just have, it's a chemical composition
Like there's a
for
different demon
their,
entity being that's attached to speed, that is attached to
yeah.
heroin, that's attached to meth. They're all different energies and entities.
Yes, and they're all
And ayahuasca, all
designed
of
that
it.
way.
Yeah, that makes
For
sense,
this
actually.
specific beings, for this specific energy, they're designed, different drugs are designed for specific entities.
To the point where
Because
in some
Yeah.
cases they actually do
Yes.
rituals over them and evoke them and all that sort of shit.
Okay, I want
Yes.
to throw this open a little farther and go into, for example, the nanotechnology, because of course we talked about Turnbull and his wife being major shareholder. She's like the head of Biomed, Prima Biomed, and that was a story that I broke earlier on in the year, that this ovarian cancer vaccine they've designed, their partner is NEC, NEC, out of Japan, who has never ever been involved in anything remotely like vaccines, biological sciences whatsoever. But they're majorly well known for nanotechnology, and the man who invented nanotubes is one of their heads of research. So when we look at nanotech being used in vaccines as a
Yes.
receptor, as a transmitter or a receiver, to, if we look at it as everything is kind of in multi-parts, if you've got frequencies, i.e. Wi-Fi frequencies, cell tower frequencies, heart frequencies, etc., and you've got drugs, and you've already got a population that's drugged down with your Prozac and your fluorides and everything else, which then makes them susceptible on another level, and you have this nanotech that's in the person that opens up receivers. I find this really, really fucking interesting.
Guys, don't be sad, don't be
No.
angry, don't go into fear,
No.
any of that stuff.
No,
'cause
No, this is
No.
just a revealing. This is just a revealing. This is what's happening. But because we already know so much about it and it makes so much sense, we should understand that this is here for us to it's showing itself so we can see it for what it is. And
Exactly.
once we reveal it, then it cannot happen. This is the thing with Putin. Putin was supposed to become the king or the savior, as everybody wanted him to become savior in 2017. That was his plan. But the way he was going to become a savior is through war, because he's carrying this war consciousness. He's not working for humanity. He's pleasing war consciousness. He's all war. He's, how is our savior right now killing children?
Yeah.
And for people in alternative media that call themselves awake and aware and waiting for the savior to save them while he's shedding blood, they're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna wait for you here really nicely, and we're gonna put you on pedestal while you're killing children and shedding blood. So I and the whole thing
Yeah.
with invasion of Europe,
Where's the office?
it was supposed to be saved
Wench, could you make coffee, please?
by Putin.
Fair. Terrible. We can't get anyone to make us coffee. How horrible is our life? I'm sorry. I'm breaking into.
Soviet Union and revolution was a test
Oh,
for
absolutely.
right now.
Absolutely.
For right now. It was a test run 100 years ago, and exactly 100 years from 2017, it was supposed to be the real thing. They were practicing for 100 years. And here we are, already know what they're going to do before they do it.
Was the same
So
thing
we're
with
still
China,
here.
right?
There's no fear.
This is why I keep talking about China and all these people who keep doing, oh, China and the White Dragon family and all this fucking bullshit. And China is going to come in and rescue us with our RP money. Oh, look, my internet connection is unstable. Ha ha ha. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Barely.
Okay, we're
You're breaking up. Oh,
Is that better?
you good now. You good
Okay.
now. Mm.
So the thing with China works in dynasties. They don't give a care about the 20 years, the 30 years, the 50 years. It's their history is every dynasty long played out. They play the long game. 100 years is nothing. And that whole communist China thing is the exact same piece. It's just another dress. It's another experiment. It's another little piece in their puzzle game. Nothing changed. The same people are still in control. It's just an outward puzzle piece. And that's what I want to go back to too. And just what Lisa was saying is like, this is not about becoming overwhelmed in fear and, oh my God, this is happening and now I'm sad and I'm upset and we need to see these things. And when we see them and we call them for what they are and we make those connections, I personally, it's a disempower thing. Like you disempower it, you take that power away.
I agree.
We have to see it. That's this whole new age meme that pisses me off about, oh, don't talk about the negative. Don't, no, we have to talk about it. You have to see it, call it out for what it is so that you can take the power away from it. And
we don't have to revel in it.
No, you don't have to revel in it.
Or stay there. But I think just by seeing it, naming it, and diffusing the energy of it, I think we all know what's going on.
Yep.
Unconsciously anyway.
Yep.
And because we don't bring it into our consciousness, it sits there and just kind of seethes away underneath the surface. And we just know that there's something horribly wrong with the world. We feel this fear and discomfort, but we can't name it because we don't understand the details. And as soon as we bring it up into our consciousness and you're like, oh, fuck, that's what it is. Okay, right.
But the other thing we have to think about is all those children. 20,000 children a month. And if we just say, oh, because I don't feel too comfortable stating the truth, what about those children? What if you stand before them and they ask you, where were you, humanity? When you knew, when it came to your awareness, what is happening to the innocence on this planet, it is being raped here. The innocence, our innocence. And just because we can't handle it.
I agree, Lily. But the question is, and someone else has asked it in the chat room too, what are we going to do about it?
Yes.
We've named it, we've seen it, we've named it, we've acknowledged it, so now what do we do about it? And that's the big question, and that's where everyone feels paralyzed.
Yeah.
Because it's so big.
Okay, well, this comes back to the revealing of it all, right? This comes back to that pulling of the strings, and the strings get pulled, and more is seen, and as more and more are seen, I always go on the premise of I talk about being seed planters, right? We plant seeds everywhere. So, for example, the Hampstead Heath case, right? And I said at the time, people may not want to believe it, but once they've heard, seen, or even had the idea that this is going on given to them, they can't unremember it. They can't wipe it out. That seed is there. And as when other of these, the string gets pulled and it gets unraveled, as more pieces come out, more and more people are going to start to go, holy shit, maybe this is actually happening. Holy shit, what do I have to look at this again? What I said didn't happen, it was all bullshit. But when as more and more of these come out and come public, people are not going to be able to deny. They're not going to be able to ignore it. It's going to be so in their face, especially, for example, in the alternative media. If this Peswiki shit with Sterling Allen plays out the way I suspect it could, there's going to be so much revealing done that people are not going to be able to cover it up. They're not going to be able to push it under a carpet. It's going to have to be seen dead on for what it is.
Yes, because we all wanted transparency. So here's our transparency.
Yep.
Yeah, we asked for it.
Were we ready for it or not? But we did ask for it. I know in alternative media, everybody was talking about transparency for years.
Yeah.
It's here now. What are we going to do about it? And that's the thing. We can't, I agree totally with everybody. We cannot be afraid of it because it is what it is. But we have to find within us the courage to stop fighting who's going to save us and actually do the work. It is time to take action.
As I've been saying for years, light will be shone in all the dark places, and that means all the dark gets revealed. And as heartbreaking as it is, it's a cleansing process. This stuff, if this stuff has been going on for years, and we believe it has been in one form or another, and we're finally finding out about it, we're finally seeing it and naming it, that has to be a good thing. We're preventing it from hiding anymore. We're cleaning out the spaces that it can hide. And soon there will be nowhere to hide. And that's the process we're in. Like you said, we ask for transparency, and we're can't pick and choose what we like and don't like.
This is the whole thing. Like, and we're looking at transparency, right? So I talk about Turkey and Erdogan. I mean, the man is a psychotic. The man is psychotic. He needs to be put down like a rabid dog. Erdogan from Turkey, the leader of Turkey. Yeah. The shit that he's doing right now, that he's been doing for the last 2 months, has put a whole level of transparency on his reign, on what he's been doing and who his allegiance is with, so hugely. The general world is starting to go, what? Wait a second. Even this new bit, the stuff that's going on in the Middle East right now, there's a massive, massive spotlight being shone on this shit. And on these several world leaders are revealing themselves to be complete and utter fucking psychotics. Erdogan being one. So we asked for transparency. We're being given transparency. It's like, you want transparency? We're going to show. Here's the madman that runs the state of Turkey. Here's the madman that runs Saudi Arabia. Here's the madman that runs, so we're seeing this playing out.
Yes, and in our psyche, in our collective psyche, we're all energetically tuned in. We all felt it. Somewhere deep inside of us, we knew that our darkness is really bad. We knew that this is not an easy path that we took to try to reveal it and clean it. Yep. And take this out of our reality. We all knew that it needed to be done.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we're all doing here?
Yeah.
Because we know it's a big mess. We all knew it's horrible. But right now, I think we have the support of each other. Let's support each other, because if we're gonna fix any of this, we have to come together.
And isn't that exactly what we're doing? I mean, this is just it.
Exactly.
I mean, going back to this of like all these groups of people, they're all coming together, and it's like, the campfire chat, and you guys are so fucking awesome, and how everyone is starting to, on multiple levels. It's not just sitting around and chat about gossip or whatever.
Or have someone to get coffee for you.
Yeah, because no one got us coffee. Oh, he's making coffee. Apparently he's making coffee. Good Ben. Ben's making coffee. Yeah, like as we come together on those multiple layers, not just the, chatting, physical, having a call, etc., but on that energetic level as well. And I keep going back to that. And I can't remember who was it who said it. Was it Maury who talked about us creating the new energetic grid? Like, we're all the energetic points, and as everyone connects, we're creating the new grid around the planet.
Oh,
And I love that.
I abuse of it.
I don't know if it was Jed or
This is actually what creates a transparency field. The transparency is very obvious right now because we are coming together as one. We don't recognize that the living energy within us, once we connect to other human beings, we become one.
Yep.
And this energy is, I mean, we all can see the transparency. So it has a source. Universe works through us. We ask for transparency. It gives us this energy that we can express, that gives us the transparency. And you know, to be honest with you, a couple of years ago, I would not be able emotionally process this darkness that is revealing itself to us right now. But I think right now, we also have the courage and the strength of our human hearts to come together because we are facing the darkest moments of human history.
What's the whole thing? An army of one is just one, but an army of many locked together. And like I say, I'm using army as in those of us who are working to change and working to stand up. And when that locks together with everyone behind you, beside you, in front of you, around you, it empowers us and we empower everyone else. And it becomes an epic force. It becomes something that they just can't break through. And I think that is the point of everything that they're doing. And they can't break through that. This natural coming together, this natural, what's the word I want to use? Force field, if you will. There you go, force field.
Yes.
is impenetrable to that stuff. And that is why I honestly think when we talk about the transparency and everything's being seen, the falling apart in the alternative media right now, the falling apart of people being seen for who they are and what they're doing is a highlight to that. In that it's like they're not part of that over shield of everyone being tied together, those that are not all tied together. And I don't mean as in everyone's got to be, like we said, not everyone thinking the same thing, being, you know, I'm talking about just that collective consciousness.
It's a solidarity.
It's a solidarity of collective consciousness. If they're not part of it, they're being seen and they're falling out.
Joseph just said, it's always darkest before the dawn. And if you look right now at the world as a whole and all the craziness that is going on every level, in every arena, dawn has to be right around the freaking corner. And
yeah, please.
Some of the things you were touching on, if people are okay with me moving on a little bit, touches on the conversation we had the other day. And also in last week's Collective Imagination show, that we talked about contrast. This ties into one of the New Age memes, all of that. Yes, there is oneness. I believe that, absolutely. We are all fractals of the one, but we are all individual and different aspects of the one. I do not believe we are all the same, which would mean that we are all mirrors for each other.
No.
I don't buy the mirrors thing.
No.
Because you can't have mirrors and contrast. Either they are exactly the same as me because they're a mirror of me, or they're contrast to me. So, which is it? You can't have your cake and eat it too, in my opinion, on this one.
No, because
we're unique. We're unique fractals. You know, I don't have the same signature as anybody else, and nobody else has the same signature as me. We are all unique, individual fractals of this one. Yep. You know, if I cut an apple into 16 pieces, they're all going to look slightly different. They're all apple, but they're all going to be unique. And where was I going with this? This ties into the conversation that you and I did, and Dee and you and I, Lily, had the other day that we haven't published yet. But
well,
this whole, as part of this, all this revealing, we've got the revealing happening around World War II. We've got, and Hitler and Stalin and everything else. And the two most demonized entities in our consciousness are Hitler and Lucifer. And all of this revealing about who and what Lucifer is. For those of you who are in here who are friends with Lisa, which used to be Lisa Rising Berry, but now she's Lisa something else. I can't remember.
That was very, very helpful.
I know. I'm sorry about that. That was useless. But she's done written a lot about this subject. And there's a connection between and hopefully I'm going to do he's agreed to it, another interview with John Lamlash on this aspect of it in particular, that the story of Lucifer is in fact a mirror story of his Sophia, the Sophia story from the Gnostics that he's created. When you look at all of the points, the storyline, it's the same story. So, but the Gaia story evokes all of this love and compassion and empathy from us. And in order to interrupt that relationship, they duplicated that story, changed the name to Lucifer, and turned it into a demon or a devil or the epitome of evil or whatever.
They took that what is the closest to us, that what is the sacred to a human being, and inverted it and put us against
Inverted it.
And because so we never connect to that energy.
So
they did it.
This is part of, from what I can see, this is also part of what's being revealed. This is more truth. This is more transparency. And there's a huge push right now to connect. I mean, they've already, through religion, connected Lucifer with Satan and the devil. They're like one and the same. But now they've added Hitler to the end of it. So it's Lucifer, Satan, devil, Hitler.
And Stalin.
And so all these, they're just sort of throwing all these names in a pot. And it's not working because at the same time, the transparency is happening.
It's all being revealed at the same time. Yeah.
And transparency is the effect of this energy, and it's effect of us human being actually coming together and realizing that, you know what, if we're going to change anything, we need to come together. We need to come together and bring our unique pieces together so we can reveal, because at the same time, there is also another sort of side effect that is happening with this energy, with energy that we are creating, that we are expressing as human beings, is also the recall of our history, because this living field also holds all the history on the planet. And so as we tune into that energy and express it more, and we flow towards each other, we're actually opening up the field, the organic field that is you can call it an Akashic record, that is a living record, and this is why also all of this is coming to light as well, because of this same living light energy that we are operating on right now.
Okay, I've just been asked to go over the Lucifer thing again because somebody got lost in that.
And we do go over it quite a bit. Conversation with Lily that we
if
had.
you haven't listened to the interview that I did with John Lamlash, it's in 2 parts, but the first part is him giving the whole Sophia story, beautifully told from start to finish. And then have a look at the story of Lucifer, the fallen angel,
the morning star.
John Lamlash, not Nash. Yeah. It's on my website. And the fall, it wasn't the fall of man. It was Sophia's fall, or Lucifer's fall, into her creation, out of love and compassion. And passion, actually, for her creation. So all you have to do is co-opt that story has a frequency. It has an energy. The story itself has an energy. And if you co-opt the story, you co-opt the energy and invert it. So that when we hear that story, because we are so tied to that story, we are part of that story, that if at the end of that story they can replace the character to one of Lucifer, then we disconnect from the story. And yes, Danny's all set. She's got a coffee. No, yes, Gaia is Lucifer. You can say that they're all the same thing. Gaia, Sapphire, and Lucifer are one and the same. And the story has been corrupted and co-opted. That is the story that is being revealed right now through a variety of people. John's just one of them. Lisa Risenberry is another one. There's also a connection to the word Lucifer and what it really means in when you go through the etymology.
I've been digging through that.
It's phosphorus. It's the light.
The light
within us. It's the phosphorus.
Which is philosopher's stone.
Which is the philosopher's stone,
and was it phosphorus?
The photonic light communication within cells, the quantum communication within our cells.
Was this the one that's only used by the brain? Was that one? Or was that another one?
Phosphorus is used by the brain, but no, it goes on through all the cellular communication.
So what was the one that we came across the other day that's only from the brain?
DMT.
No.
No,
This was.
I think the guy said it was phosphorus, and I disagreed because I know that phosphorus is used
it was something
throughout
else.
the body.
Because it came up through the vaccine.
Yep. Sorry, guys, we're having a bit of a mental block.
Yeah, sorry.
I have more coffee, though, so it should be okay. Just give us a sec.
I'm finally sipping what you were spilling. Okay, Vicky, thank you. Good. So this is, again, part of what's being revealed right now.
Now, I want to bring up something that's kind of interesting.
And also part of what they're trying to get in front of.
The inverse. Invert. Yes. And the flipping. And it's like in the satanic ritual, purported satanic ritual, etc. And, of course, the pentagram is flipped upside down. The Nazi symbol, the swastika, is actually an inversion of the Buddhist symbol.
Did you see the image of, was it Orion's?
And there goes, look at that. The
was it Orion's belt? Was it Orion's belt that does?
Yeah, the Orion's.
The pot.
The Big Dipper. At different times of the year.
Had a little bit of a thing on that.
Well, then hang on, let me tell them what the photograph showed. It was a photograph of the Big Dipper at the equinoxes and the solstices. And it forms a swastika in the sky, around the North Star.
Around the North Star.
And what? It goes left.
And the swastika
goes.
Well, it goes, I'm pretty sure it goes the opposite to what the swastika was.
Which is it?
Last night, I was sitting there thinking, if they've flipped it next to the north, and they've flipped it, does it look like that from the south? Is there something to do with the swastika being something to do with the southern?
Well, the swastika is the mirror image of the old Buddhist and all of that version of it.
Right, but what he's saying,
based on celestial, astronomical.
Exactly. I don't know if you guys can actually hear Ben.
No, you probably can't.
If that's an astronomy thing, the North Star is the head star in the north. The Big Dipper travels it around that way. If Hitler's not stupid, why would he switch the angle of an ancient symbol? So if it's
the southern hemisphere, it would be
that way. Does it the Big Dipper go that way?
Over here on the southern
hemisphere. So is that a symbol?
So, for example,
the southern hemisphere of him saying, "Hey, this was for the northern hemisphere. We've got it for the south." Antarctica.
That's another whole conversation. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna have to discuss that because that was seriously well.
We'll get back to that one.
The big thing that freaked me out, our very first night in Australia, is look up in this beautiful clear sky. This where we are, because we're kind of like right out in the country. It's like you can see the stars, you can see the Milky Way, you could see this expanse. And I look up and go, oh look, there's Orion's belt, and then go, it's upside down. Why is Orion? And then go, oh my God, southern hemisphere. Orion's belt is completely upside down to the way we see it in the northern hemisphere. And I went, wait a second. Really, logically, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it actually doesn't.
It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. Yeah, we'll have to actually get him when he doesn't have quite so much caffeine in his system to sit down and logically run through that again. It was really good, but it's definitely one we're going to have to discuss because it was very interesting.
But the premise of it was that the German swastika was the opposite. It was going the opposite way to the way the swastika has been presented throughout history. And why? Was it that it looks that mirror image from what is called the Southern Hemisphere or the Outer Rim? Or was he, hang on, if all of our symbols have been co-opted, and he understood that the swastika as it was throughout history was in fact a co-opting or an inversion of how it should be, maybe he was putting it back the right way.
No.
I mean, then that's going into the whole, we know who set up Hinduism, we know where that came from, so yes, quite possibly it was completely fucking in that shift when Egypt and Pharaoh wasn't going to be happy, and then they came through into India.
You really should be sitting over here closer.
There's
to
no
the
room
microphone.
though.
I
Wow.
know.
Apparently I'm popped up on Poeple. I'm not allowed to, don't feed the animals.
Hang on.
You can feed the animals. You can go
What's
on
going
over
on?
here.
The inversion then what it does energetically to a person, because it's a symbol, so what it does, inversions, then it actually, instead of you expressing your energy from within, what you do is you give it away. It pulls that energy that is supposed to activate within you and expand.
Like a vortex.
What it does, it actually grabs that energy and it takes it away. This is what Merkaba feels all about. This is why Merkaba feels
Okay, I've got something.
goes one way and the other one is inverted and goes other way. So what it actually does, it harvests our energy that we supposed to express, and it pulls
Levity,
our
gravity.
raw
Levity and gravity.
Levity, gravity.
energy.
Levity, gravity. If the swastika one way is levity and the other way it's gravity, one pulls, one pushes, one
You
brings
need the 0 point in the center. And Ben's like, thank you. Oh, there's going to have to be a whole show.
Oh, there's going to be.
Oh, this is going to be oh boy. And I'm sorry, guys, we just left you way out in left field because this is hours and hours of conversations over the last 2 weeks. We will have to sit down, actually do this whole, lay this levity gravity thing out.
I'm going to relax now.
Your work is done, Ben. You've got it. The chicks finally got it.
Ready, guys? I'm out of here. Beam me up.
Beam me up. He's done.
Okay. All right. I know
Sorry,
what next
guys,
week's
I
show is
know
going to be
that.
about.
Yeah, next week's show is going to be about levity and gravity. Ben, be prepared. You're on next week's show.
You're on
next week's show.
week. We're going to do levity, gravity. Okay. Yeah, now. Okay. I feel like that too now. Like, yeah, my work is done.
Okay, we got it all explained. We have to explain it to everyone else now, but that will take a long time. We'll work on it though.
No. It's already written.
It is already written up.
It's all written up.
I didn't do it.
No,
Well,
it's
we got to
already
get
out
the video done then, dude.
Read that.
Yeah, I know. We got to get the video done now.
there. Okay. I always wondered what that was with that whole swastika thing. Why the inversion?
But what is the constellation that
The North Star is the center point.
What is the constellation, or what is the constellation that the Big Dipper represents? Orion is the Orion galaxy. Sirius galaxy. Ursa Major, right? Ursa Major. I'm pretty sure that you'll find if you do your research, the Big Dipper is actually in perfect correlation with the pyramids, and it's not Orion at all.
Well, what is? Don't just half say something.
Well, no. Well, that takes it. Here we are sitting looking at Orion because that's what it was built to.
Orion.
But isn't? Well, was it?
No.
No,
well, what was
the Big
it?
Dipper.
I think it was Cygnus.
Which is
the Big Dipper around the North Star.
Around the North Star.
Pull the swastika.
So what part of what galaxy, what star system, whatever is represented by
Ursa
this,
Minor, Ursa Major.
which is what?
Oh, sorry, which is what? Orion.
Why are we not?
Okay, guys, we're sorry. We'll cut this conversation now because we're going to have to.
Orion is actually where the harvested energy, or our energetic loosh, as some call, is going. And the reason is because the pyramid, when you look from the top of the pyramid, it looks like a spiral going down.
Yeah.
So that reminds you of the Merkaba field.
Oh,
And
this is
so
going to have to be next
it's
week.
actually connected to Orion, and Orion, there's a spiral, an inverted spiral that is connected to the planet. And this is why the pyramids are very important, because those are the points through which they harvest. It's an inverted energy. That's what
I think Ben's trying to get to
is.
a point where he's got a different. He always has a different one. He's got a different theory.
Yeah, that's just my own opinion on that.
Oh,
so
this is going to be a good conversation next week, guys. Oh,
we're going to have, with this energy, we're going to have so much more of the revelations and understanding of our history, because this energy is helping us to clean out the trash from our reality. So
I'm gonna actually
these two over here. Now, Nick and Ben are like.
did you guys wanted to ask me about the alternative media thing? Lisa, did you started asking me about alternative media, or am I?
Oh, we did comment on just how it's kind of cannibalizing itself right now.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to put out the video that we did.
Most of alternative media is under the same umbrella of harvesting. So most of it is becoming transparent as well, as we can see, and so it has to fall apart. So the harvesting agenda cannot hold up anymore because of this transparency. And so it's just everything is showing itself, showing truth about. But you ladies know, alternative media has been co-opted. Most of it's been co-opted. I'm not going to say just co-opted. Most of it been put in there for the purpose of harvest our energy. This is what it does.
And like I said, this shit with this Sterling Allen stuff, the biggest free, oh, look at, there go my internet. The internet connection's unstable again. Isn't that funny how that happens? Can you guys hear us? Can you hear us? Yes, they can. Okay.
Yeah.
With this thing, and like I said, we keep coming back to that free energy, the biggest free energy site, and the whole free energy expression to co-opt and to coerce and harvest. And then same thing, who's the energy? We're the energy. And then you tell me in pedophilia in there and go, oh, well, gee, that gives a whole new concept to free energy, doesn't it?
But look at just the simple fact that Sterling Allen's had that website and had the Peswiki and had that community running for nearly 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
They've not produced any free energy devices out of it, as far as I know.
Well, they have. There's all kinds of stuff on there that's been amazing, but nothing that's been mass produced. No. Nothing that's come out that's been the answer. Yet, lots of traffic.
You know why? Because they're actually looking to trap and grab people that are actually designing these things.
Exactly.
By pretending to try to help them and all of that stuff. But yet nothing comes out, because the true reason why they're there is to set up these traps for those actually that can create some solutions. That's what it's for. This is the number one thing, because we don't recognize how powerful we are as creators. And so for that, we don't think that they will go out of their way to try to catch us so we don't take control, and trap us so we don't take control of our creation. So all of that free energy, things out there, most of it, I would say 99% of it, is put in there for this very specific reason, to keep actually free energy from hitting the market, from becoming available.
Just saying. Oh, I'm not saying anything on live.
There is stuff.
Just saying.
Oh, there is stuff that we should be talking about. It's actually exactly the sort of stuff that we should be talking about and revealing, but we can't because of the people involved. And what we get, if we do, we'll get accused of, oh God, and just start a shit fight again.
Yep.
So there's this whole topic that right now we can't even expose because of the situation. So, which sucks because that's not the way we like to do things.
We need to think about that a little more.
Yeah.
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 Okay, I'm actually going to do a really blatant, obvious plug right now.
Yep, go for it.
I was, the conversation came up earlier. What can we do about it? What can we do? And this is the state that I was in over 12 months ago. I got so frustrated coming back into this country and seeing how much, especially in these, first world countries in the Western world, how much the governments and the corporations have got themselves embedded in our lives and our pockets in particular. And by the time we have paid for our necessities, which go to government and big corporations, there's bugger all left. And they're constantly finding new ways to get their hand in your pocket. And also, so seeing that, and also seeing people's frustration at not being able to do anything, or because they're too scared to do certain things, like take on the system directly, take on their bank over their mortgage or their credit cards, or not drive without licenses and regos, and people not wanting to go there, but still wanting to do something. So that's when I started looking. And I found an alternative that I think is a how would you call it? It's a self-empowering, and it's a human system of business as opposed to a corporate harvesting system is how I think of it. And I started the Global Eco Shop. Now, on Thursday, so tomorrow I've got the Collective Imagination, and at the same time as today, same time as Collective Imagination on Thursday, I'll be doing
That's Wednesday for everyone in the other side.
Yeah, Wednesday evening or Thursday morning. I'll be doing a presentation again and just showing what it is. So if you are looking for an alternative, if you feel like you need to do something, this is an easy one. And this is one that can help get these guys out of our pockets in our homes. And has
in our daily life. And it has a huge domino effect, I think. So if you want to hear about it, join me then. That's what I'm going to be doing. Wednesday night, same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah, blatant plug.
Blatant.
Totally. I unashamedly, because that was the first thing I did. And the things that we are working on in the background that are yet to be public, yet to be launched, are many others that, will be coming to you soon. But this is one I've been involved in for over a year. And I feel very good about it. I'm just going to leave it. So, it itself has been going for 30 years. I've been involved for a year.
Yeah.
So it's not some fly-by-night, flash in the pan, see you later
exactly
thing.
Yeah.
So,
on blatant plugs, Gaia's Garden is not started up yet. We are still getting things sorted and stabilized, and
this coffee's making me go, a little hot. That too.
Well, the sun coming out too is also making us hot. It is going to be moving forward once we have a set home base. We still don't have a set home base yet. we're working on that. And then Gaia's Gardens will be moving forward. And we've made some amazing connections already here since being here. So awesome stuff. But yeah, do not fret. Gaia's Gardens will be back soon as we get things sorted out and arranged, and I have a place to set up blenders and shit. I don't have a blender yet, so we got to work on that. Let's do a little stuff like that. A lot of shit has happened this week. A lot of, energetic weirdness. A lot of personal stuff with Lisa and I and the gang over here, like reveals. Reveals, yes. As a little short story aside, we had a property that was all set up for us to come to, and I think, did we talk about this in the last week's show a little bit? Yeah, and we had one final meeting with the guy, one final attempt to try and see if this guy would make any sense about renting this property, and Nick and I were like, yeah. So
we're walking away from that.
We're walking away from you, and don't call us, we'll call you. So we're still working on getting everything settled and sorted. But there's a lot of shit going on.
You should see my car.
Oh, and 3 car events. Yeah, her poor car. Nick is going to get out there with a hammer and start doing some bending stuff and reattaching.
I would call it cosmetic surgery, but that sounds like too delicate a work. This might be delicate.
Yeah, this will not be delicate cosmetic surgery. This will be Nick with a sledgehammer bending panels and stuff like that. He's okay. He's good at that kind of shit.
Ladies, can I add something?
Yeah. Of course.
To what you were just saying, Lisa, about the solutions, and I just wanted to tell everybody, like Lisa, you were saying that every one of us is unique.
Yep.
So we have to find our own answer, what it is that is our own piece to the puzzle. Because right now, more than anything, we each individually have to find our own piece, what it is that we are doing for humanity, what it is that I am as a human being can do, and allow your spirit to answer that to you, and it will float. Your answers will float to you, and you will know what your piece is. And then by knowing yourself, or knowing that what you can offer to this new timeline, then you will know how your piece fits with other human beings. So find that answer for you. This is a different time. Nobody can tell you how you can help humanity. You have to find that answer within you, and then see who is there with you on that same path, who is putting that picture together, that you have your piece.
Yep, and it's all the interweaving, right? Everyone's got these pieces, and it's, exactly.
Since I got up here,
Sheila, I'll join you on that.
Since I got up here, and the vision for the solution-based vision continued to evolve, and we got Dee here, and because she was another piece. Nick was another piece. The people that have come in who have got another piece, like you, Carl, who expand on the foundation that's already been created,
unbelievable, and
just take it to another level. Unbelievable how many people have come in with such unique pieces that are just theirs, and yet fits in beautifully with the overall vision.
Yep.
Don't you feel how all that? Yes. So the takeaway.
I think that's the key, right?
I hope the takeaway from today. Oh, sorry. Go, Lily.
No, I said it's the key to know what your piece is. And to know what your piece is, know yourself, because it is within you. You are that piece.
Yep.
And then once you find yourself, you will know where you belong in human collective. And everything else will float naturally, because then we become a living field, creative field. And then the solutions will come, like you just said, Lisa, how beautifully things come together when people know where they themselves belong in human collective. It's a huge key, in my opinion. So thank you for allowing me to say that.
Of course, love.
There's a quote, and I can't remember who said it, but and I know you've all heard it. It's like the two most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you realize why.
Mark Twain?
Was it Mark Twain?
I think it was Mark Twain. I'm not sure, but I think it was Mark Twain.
And that's kind of where we're at right now. And as I was going to say, I hope the takeaway from today is, and because it is for me, and I didn't know that that's what it was going to be when we started the show, is that we're getting exactly what we asked for. We asked for transparency and we're getting it. And it may be ugly and it may make us feel horrible and it may make us feel sad and angry and a whole bunch of things, but we're getting it and we have to get it. We have to see it. We have to shine the light in all the dark places. We have to allow
and get it. Like Ben just said, we have to get it. Fundamentally get it.
And it's being equaled. It's not all bad. If we know where to look, we're seeing just as equal all the good stuff too.
Yep.
And so for everything that you see that horrifies you, know that there is something else there that will make your heart sing as well, and vice versa. And the crescendo is right around the corner, I think. I loved what Joseph said, the darkest before the dawn. And
darkest before the dawn.
I would have thought 12 months ago it couldn't have gotten much darker than what we were seeing, but it has.
Yep.
So that's my takeaway.
I agree. Seriously awesome shit going on, folks. Seriously awesome shit going on too. Seriously awesome shit going on right here. It's going to be fun. We have a lot of work to do. I know everyone's been begging me for another Transpicuous News, and we've just been, I cannot even possibly explain to you how swamped we have been from dawn, from waking up to going to bed. It's been every single day since the moment we touched down, like just non-fucking stop. So many projects to work on, so many people to work with, and pulling shit together, and it's insane. I need two of me. If someone knows anything about cloning, I'd like a clone made. Even if that person could the other clone could just deal with like some cooking and cleaning and a few basic things like that. Careful what you ask for. Oh, snap.
Okay, we have to go. Thank you so much for joining us.
Sheila, can you send me the link to the campfire chat? Because I'll probably come in and join you guys in a little bit.
I would, but I have to run to an appointment.
She has to go away.
Okay.
Yep.
So we will see you. Well, I will. I mean, she probably will pop her head in tomorrow at the Collective Imagination show. And I don't know. Maybe we can do something proactive, because everyone's probably feeling like wanting to do. And then the day after, I will be doing that overview presentation. So
we'll drop the link into the Unfuckers room,
and I will put it on my calendar on my website too. So
that's a good idea.
You'll see it there.
Secretary, could you add that to the calendar, please?
Slave child labor.
That's right.
Comes in handy. All right.
Woman makes an awesome secretary.
She does. She does. Bye, guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone.